All right, how's everybody doing? Welcome to Friday. We made it to Friday. I'm Mike Jeff for Chicago Jazz Magazine, chicagojazz.com. And of course, you are watching Chicago Music Revealed here every day, 6 Central Time. Unless, of course, there's this little switch like we had yesterday where I did 2 shows, 5:30 and 6. But today is just 6 o'clock. Welcome to the weekend, folks. What better way to welcome yourself to the weekend than to watch Chicago Music Revealed here? Of course, all the past episodes are on chicagomusicrevealed.com. We are streaming live on Facebook, Chicago Jazz Magazine, Chicago Music Guide, Chicago Blues in Chicago, and of course, Chicago Music Revealed. And in addition to all of that, I'm also the Director of Programming and Entertainment at the soon-to-be opening Epiphany Center for the Arts right there, 201 South Ashland Avenue, Ashland and Adams. We are opening up in September with a full slate of live performances, in addition to pay-per-view live streams that we are setting up as well. All of this is going to be announced, I think, a week from Monday. We should be up running, tickets on sale, website updated, and everything rocking and rolling. Of course, get all the information at epiphanyshy.com. And as usual, you will hear it here first as well. So there's going to be some announcements next week on this show. So stay tuned for that. But now, I don't want to keep rambling on about myself and about everything else. Let's get right to the heart of the matter here. Of course, it's Friday, and what does that mean? That means that it is blues in Chicago and beyond, and that means our co-host Dave Katzman is on the phone today, and we have a very special guest who I've had the chance of interviewing and meeting many years ago when I used to do merchandise at the Chicago Blues Fest. Kenny and I got to know each other then. Kenny Beedy Eyes Smith is on the phone, and we are going to have a great discussion about blues, Chicago blues, his history, and everything else. So, Kenny, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking a few minutes. And Dave, welcome to the show this week.
Hey, guys. Thank you, Jeff.
Well, hey, it's a pleasure having you on today, Kenny. You know, Dave and I have been doing this thing every Friday. We kind of kicked it off, I don't know, maybe about a month and a half ago. We've had some great artists on. It's finally good. It is finally good to have a drummer on, you know, because as a drummer here, now we're finally talking to some people here, man.
Nice.
Got to admit, I've been putting a lot of guitar players. We did have Billy Branch on, though, so we got a harp player in. But I figured you should be the first drummer we have on the blues show.
Yeah, well, we finally have an actual musician, a drummer on the show here.
Nice. Don't start now.
The drummers have to stick together, man. We got to
don't be starting no stuff.
All right, now as we always do this stuff, I always turn it over. Dave's my co-host on this show on Fridays, and I know Dave has known Kenny for many, many, many years. And you know,
oh my God,
all the information. Before I keep going, we've got a picture of Kenny up. We've got his website up, beedyeyes.com, and if you can get all the information, we're going to talk all about what he's got on the website. He's got some great learning videos as well. His great historical stuff. Good information, obviously performance videos and everything else. So while you're watching this, if you want to fly over to beedyeyes.com, you can get all the information on Kenny. But Dave, why don't you take it away with the first couple of questions here, and we'll get the conversation going.
Yeah, no problem. Well, first off, Ken, you know, you and I have known each other so long. We're definitely family, and you know, I knew your dad so well, and I watched you come up. I can't remember when I met you, but I think you were a teenager at the time. If you're gonna go for that, I don't even remember meeting you, to be honest. I mean, your dad and I worked together so many years, you know, through Beedy Eyes when I was there, but also way before that, and Chicago Fest and everything else. I mean, your dad was a wonderful, wonderful person, very, very good friend of mine, and I miss him dearly. But I did get to meet you coming up and watch you grow into a totally amazing drummer. And also you've become a good friend of mine, and we've been able to play together over the years. And it's just, I'm so glad to have you on the show. That's all I got to say about that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, definitely a pleasure, man. Definitely family for sure. I mean, yeah, we've been knowing each other. Oh my goodness. I was a teenager, probably 16, maybe 16 or 17.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Somewhere in there.
When did you start moving your dad's drums?
Oh my! When I started moving them around, being his roadie, that started at 13.
Well, I may have met you then.
I started pushing them drums at 13. Yeah, that was yeah, but that was
Yeah,
always a
yeah, I
blast.
probably. Yeah, wow, wow, that's a while ago. Anyways, I mean, you've got such a rich history in the blues. I mean, obviously, um, growing up in that house, which was Muddy's house, and your dad took it over, and you grew up in it. What was it like to be around all those guys in the beginning? Let's start with that. Just hearing the music in your house and just being around that kind of energy. What was that like?
Oh, that was the best energy of my life right there. I mean, that's what I really say it made me into who I am now. Just I mean, even beyond the musicians. I mean, it's just the family. It was just family oriented. When whoever came in the house. I mean, there was so many musicians who came through that house, but all of them, to me, I've seen them so much. They were family. I mean, they literally were family. I call them uncles. Uncles.
Hmm.
Just
You had a
because
lot of uncles.
I had a lot of uncles. Really, that's so true. That's what I mean. I seen them so much. Oh, and that was even before I really recognized that they played on stage. I knew they were playing music like in the basement because I get so excited because I know that they're going to go in that basement and they're going to play music down there for at least 3 hours. So I guess get me a little seat and just listen to them, down in that basement, playing some music, playing music, taking some breaks, taking some card breaks and some drink breaks, but then they get back to the music again. But I loved it. I would just hang down there. They'll start. I mean, they'll start in the afternoon and they'll be there, 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. Still playing, still practicing and just having fun, in that basement. So I learned a lot, um, just from hanging
Oh,
around. But like I said, before I knew that they were musicians, famous musicians, that to me they just was family. That's how much. I mean, I see them. They would. I would. I think like Pine Top Perkins. I remember him. So much. I would be. He called me. We go changing tires together. We go fishing together. Him and me and my dad. Things like that that I remember a lot about
that's
those
right.
musicians. A lot of personal memories like that. From a lot of them. A lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, just for the audience out there, what were some of these musicians that were with your family, part of your family, but also playing music down in the basement? I mean, it really was the who's who. I know who they were, but
Yeah. Yeah.
why don't
Oh
you
yeah.
kind of give a list of who was down there, who you were around when you were a kid?
Well, I
So,
remember. I remember. In my house, I remember the Muddies band would always be in my house. Like they would always be practicing. Fuzz Calvin Jones, Jerry Portnoy, Bob McGolan, Pine Top Perkins, Sammy Longhorn would even be there, sometime too. And then sometime that party jumps into another party. It's like another band came in town, and then they coming over to the house, to visit too. I was trying to, come into the house to just hang out too and party and play some music too, and it was only years later that I really recognized who those bands, some of those bands were too. I feel like
wow.
I want to say that, oh man, one of them that I remember was Yard, the Nighthawks, and
Oh yeah,
things
sure.
like that. They come through town, they come over there. I remember that, things like that. But
One
that
of
was
those.
like
What about Tim Wilson? What about
Kim
Tim
Wilson,
Wilson and the band?
absolutely,
Yeah,
Kim Wilson
of
too,
course.
definitely, yeah, absolutely, Kim Wilson for sure. Many, many times. There, James Cotton. I mean, the list could go on and on and on forever. As like I say, musicians, but like I said, a lot of them I just knew, just outright, just knew as a human being.
You know,
Right. Well, I understand that.
I'm jumping. I want to jump in real
Mike.
fast because I think it's interesting for everybody listening and stuff. I mean, you knew these guys because they were coming over to hang out at your house because your dad and everything, and they were twofold question here. Number one, you're meeting them, but you're on a level of like, as you said, you're like your uncles and your aunts and everybody that was
Yeah,
coming over. It wasn't a big deal, which had to give you a huge opportunity, which I'm sure you took advantage of just watching them play. But also, you could probably ask questions that nobody else that was just starting out could ever ask these guys, because these guys would look at somebody like, why are you asking me that? But Kenny's asking me this because he's asking me this. So as you were growing up and developing, how did that must have been an incredible amount of information that you were able to get through osmosis, but also some of the questions you must have been able to ask these world famous guys that have done it. I mean, what were some of the questions you were asking them or just talking about with them? I mean, that as far as music related stuff that helped you expand your playing and grow your career so quickly?
Well, I guess I mean, those guys were so smart, you know, and I will answer that question thoroughly too, but just to make it clear, like those guys were so smart. I
Yeah.
mean, they had so much knowledge, you know. To me, it was to me it was like a to me they were like a Mr. Miyagi or something. They had the information. You go, wait, what? And then later on, it hits you. You know, it's just what they said. So, I mean, I definitely would ask questions like, you know, what. You know, sometimes I didn't have to ask questions. Sometimes they just tell me, like,
Yeah.
hey, look, you know, this is you're gonna play music. It's not gonna be an easy road to do this all the time. You know, you have to if you want to do this, just know this is not gonna be an easy road. Financially, an easy road to be doing this all the time. You're gonna have some ups and downs. You're gonna have some ups and downs and some highs and lows. Be aware of that. It's not gonna be all cherry on the tree all the time. You know, this is straight up stuff that they all told me. Every
Yeah.
last one of them told me that, you know, definitely would tell me, you know, things like that. And I would say, you know, and I would ask questions like, well, you know, what am I supposed to do? You know, I see, you know, with the drinking and the smoking. They just say, hey, keep your head on right. Keep your head on right. You don't have to do all those things to play music.
Hmm.
You know, enjoy the music. You don't have to drink to play music. You can drink if you want to. You can smoke if you want to. But if you don't want to, you don't have to. That doesn't make you a better musician, you know, to play. So those things that they would tell me, they would talk to me just like as if my own father would tell me. Same
Yeah.
things my father would tell me. They would tell me those things.
The other
You
thing
know.
I find amazing about this is that, I mean, we're all professional musicians, so we all know. I mean, to get professional musicians to actually just hang out and jam these days is like, give me a break. If unless there's a gig or something, that doesn't happen all that much. But was that sort of the scene back then? Where I mean, if they didn't have a gig, or maybe even after the gig, they'd come back over to your place, to your father's house. I mean, I find it amazing that these guys, they probably were playing a ton, but they still wanted to hang out. It must have been more of a social thing where they come over, they jam, they hang out, maybe they rehearse a little bit just to kind of work through stuff, but they're having such a good time together that they
Yes,
wanted to do that. It wasn't like pulling teeth to get anybody to come over anywhere,
exactly.
right?
No, it was not like that. This would be random. I mean, it would be it would start. It can start a day like that was even after a gig. Yeah, that they would come over because I know they be sleeping, you know, on the couches downstairs. I know that in the bedrooms down there, so I know that they would come back over. You know, mind you that I was young, but I was very observant, you know,
Mm-hmm.
too at the time too. So yeah, they would come. They definitely would come back over, but it wouldn't. A day would start out like I could see one of them coming over, you know, even 11 a.m. in the morning. You know,
Mm-hmm.
sometime they sitting on the couch, just my dad, and one of the musicians sitting there just talking. You know, just sitting there talking. Next thing you know, I see a couple of more coming by the end of the evening. You know, a few more talking. They kind of gather around just talking, and then next thing you know, they're in the basement, you know, playing around. They'll start out maybe with a card game, you know,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. You know, things like that would happen. And I mean, this wasn't like once in a while. These things happen constantly, you know. And sometimes it'd be vice versa. You know, sometimes it'd be Pine Top House. You know, sometimes
Mm.
my father and them would congregate at Pine Top House. It just was like that, and it felt the same way. I would go with them because I just loved it. I just knew them, and I loved them all. You know, I just kind of like they all kind of just hung out together. It was a family thing, and one thing that I noticed when I got grown is, and it just kind of inspired me too. Is like every time those guys, James Cotton, if James Cotton saw my father, you know, even if they did a show together, a festival, before they leave that show, they hug each other and they actually say, hey, kiss each other on the cheek, you know, and,
Yeah.
and move on. Now that's deep, you know.
Yeah.
That to me, I see that to myself and I say, that's really deep. You know, that's how much they care for one another, you know,
Yeah.
that's how much they care for one another. You know, they hug
You
each
know,
other, kiss
yeah.
each other on the cheek. That you very rarely see that, you know, in musicians
You
like
know,
that. That's love.
it's it's really true. I didn't get the amazing childhood of growing up around them in the house where they lived or came and hung out, but I spent a lot of time with the older guys, and there was a sense of community
Yeah.
and brotherhood, a brotherhood,
Yes. Brotherhood.
a real tribal brotherhood, and that is rare to find these days. I mean, friendships are there, and we all care about each other, and we check up on each other's kids and stuff like that. But it's not the same. What I would see back then was, if someone kind of was down on their luck,
Yeah.
pretty much everyone would pitch in and help in
That's right.
whatever way they could.
That's
If their
that's
car
right.
was broken down, they'd all go work on
That's
it. I
right.
mean,
That's
It
right.
was a whole different thing. It was more like the old school neighborhood. And,
Yeah,
the neighborhood I grew up in was a lot of different ethnicities, and everyone helped each other. It doesn't happen today.
yeah,
Back
and
then, the community of musicians was like the neighborhood. It really
I
was.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I agree. I mean, like they could call my father 3 o'clock in the morning in a snow blizzard and say, "Hey, Willie, I'm stuck out here. I'm stuck, 100 miles away. Can you come get me?" He gonna go.
And they
He
would.
gonna he gonna get in his car. He gonna go and he gonna go get the whole band and he gonna go get them. That's what
Yeah.
they were
Yep.
doing, and vice versa, and vice versa. They would come help him. It could be the same thing. They would come, and they would help each other out. That's how they. I mean, they were deep. It's pretty deep.
Yeah, I miss that, man.
You know.
I miss what
Yeah.
I saw, and it's never going to happen again. As cool situations now are never going to happen again in the future. But really, truly, yeah, I don't want to be too corny here, but a part of my love for the blues and the blues community is that feeling, and that Kenny and I can relate to it because we were both there as kids. I was a little
Yeah.
older kid than he was, but I was a kid too,
Yeah.
and it's like we were lucky enough to see that, and there are very few of those guys left, and and they all get teary eyed. The guys that are still around, as you start talking about
Yes.
those times, they all get a little emotional. But it was a pretty amazing time, and yeah, I kind of want to move this forward in a subject about that community. Is the house that you lived in that was once Muddy's and then was your dad's and then years later still owned by isn't it still owned by the Muddy Waters family or
It is. It is owned. It is owned by the Muddy
the
Waters
estate?
family. Yeah, the estate is
Yeah.
the estate is owned. Yeah, by his great granddaughter. Yes, owns it.
Well, for many many years there was question. This is for the listeners. All of us know this, but there was a question whether it was going to be torn down or not. And being the hallowed ground that it is, all of us would react to that. And finally, um, you know, it's silly for me to tell the story. Kenny, you tell the story because you're on the board of the Mojo Museum, which is there was finally a grant given to rebuild the foundation and the roof, and looks like we're going to actually have a real blues museum. But Kenny, why don't you talk it?
Yeah. So yeah, there was definitely the grant. They got the grant. To help in a what's the word I'm looking for? Um, help fix up the house. So they
Hmm.
basically going to do that. I mean, it's still still got a long road ahead. Still got a few more grants that we want to get. We still that we want to get for sure because we want to do it right. We don't want to just half do it. So there's going to be a lot more work involved in it. But that's definitely a good starting point for us for sure. The house had been deteriorating, but there's there in there. People can speculate, but there's a lot of different stories go behind the scenes.
Hmm.
With the house too. But all I can say is I know that Muddy great granddaughter she fought hard, long and hard, and worked hard. To to carry on her grandfather's legacy. That's one thing that she carried. Even when she talked about it, she gets teary eyes because that's how much it means to
There
her.
you go.
That's how much
Yeah.
it mean. That's how much it means to her. So she really, she did her thing. She worked two jobs, to get everything taken care of. That's a lot. That takes a lot to do if you're trying to take care of two houses at one time.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Too. But she did it. She did it, and she toughed through it. And she said, one thing when I leave this earth, I want that. I want that museum. I want something, give back to my grandfather. Let him know he did not want that house to be sold. He wanted here for everybody to enjoy. That's what I'm gonna do with it before I leave this earth, and that's what she's been doing. That's what
Wow.
she's pushing.
That's
Yeah,
great.
So what's the time? I
and
mean, like, what's the timeline on something like that? I mean, I can only imagine the restoration project that it's got to go into it, right, to get everything up and running.
yes,
But I mean, when you get a grant like that, and you've got to piece together maybe a couple more grants, obviously, for a lot of different,
yes.
funding things. I mean, so is there any sort of timeline, like as far as an initial start time or anything on that, or everything's just preliminary? You just get the grant, and then you can start to piece together everything else in order to then
Where
put
everything,
everything
yeah,
together.
everything's moving. Yeah,
Yeah,
everything's kind of moving forward. That
good.
there's everything we're doing. There's step by steps that
Yeah.
everybody's taking forward with this to do. So just I can't say oh it's going to start June
Yeah, right.
I just can't say that at the moment how it's going to start, but I know that it is going to start. But there's steps that's like that we really want to do it right. Don't want to rush into it just to throw it up there. We want to really do it. If we're going to do it, we want to do it right. So yeah, we not going to take our time, but we're going to definitely take our time to make sure that it's right when it's all said and done. So
Well,
I won't give
uh,
a full
Question
timeline
about
on
that:
it yet. Yeah.
is the city involved in it at all?
Well, it definitely city definitely and it definitely love it too. Definitely, they definitely have been in talk with the city too. Hopefully, we get some grants out of the city too. I think that everything's moving forward. I think they know that this is a landmark. Too.
yep.
That's one thing the city of
Hmm.
Chicago know. They really realizing that this is definitely a house that's special. You know, to
Absolutely.
Chicago. To Chicago. So I
To
was
the
really
world.
happy.
To
Yeah,
the
and to the
world.
sorry to the world, absolutely to the world. So definitely the city is on board with that part for sure.
The thing that I love about it, and I mean, me running Chicago Jazz Magazine and all that over the years, and being involved with a lot of different blues musicians and blues organizations and jazz organizations and everything, is that the ones that are super successful are the ones that go slow and put all their ducks in a row
Yeah,
as
yeah.
they build it out. Because if you try to
Yes,
do stuff and then it goes halfway, it always has a tendency of stopping for whatever reason. So I think what you're talking about is exactly what should be happening. It sounds like you guys are totally on board, and his great granddaughters totally knows what's going on, because
oh yeah,
you piece this thing together, it's going to be around for another 200 years, and that's what you guys
exactly,
want to have happen. So that's outstanding. It's
exactly.
awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the main goal for sure.
Oh yeah. Hey Dave,
Yeah.
you got something else for Kenny before I jump back in? Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Yeah. Well, first off, we should mention the website, mojomuseum.com,
Yep.
for
Sorry about
information.
that. Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, I wanted to bring up, blues drumming is a very complex thing in itself. And there is such I don't even know what to call it, but real true blues drumming and the traditional drumming and the beats with the hesitation beat, like the lump to lump or the blues rumba and things like that, all are different than how it's written in the books, how the notation is written in the book, the tablatures. And there is the element of whether it's hesitation or feel or whatever you want to call it. Well, this is what I'm asking you. Can you kind of explain to drummers out there that are not familiar? Everyone can play blues music, okay? And this is true with guitar, and this is true with bass also, and keyboards and harmonica. Everyone can play the notes. But when it actually comes down to playing it with real feel, and believe me, and that's why I hire you, Ken, when I can. It's really important to have a real drummer that can really, really understand that, because then it gives the kind of bouncing board for the bass player, the guitar player, and keyboard player to find their place in that rhythm. What can you, if you can condense it? And I know it's a very large subject, but the kind of differences in a true lump or something like that, or a true slow blues
Yeah.
compared to just like a rock slow tune or a ballad.
Yeah.
Go, man, go. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I'll make the long there's a long definition to this, but I'll try to keep it short. To me, so everybody, I always look at it like, if we all had to draw a rabbit, it's gonna look a little bit different, but it's gonna be a rabbit. To kind of
Mm-hmm.
look at drumming the same way. Everybody's not gonna keep that same field exactly the same way, but there is some roots to it too. My thinking is for drummers out there, you have to first you got to understand the music. You got to understand what you're playing first. That's the first thing. You can say, oh, it's easy until you get on stage, and then you got the deer in the headlights look.
Mm-hmm.
When you do it, you can do all the drum roll
And the old
fills.
guys yelling at you. The old guys
Yeah,
yelling at you on stage.
exactly. So to make the long story short, is you have to really pay attention to the band. To the band is that there's so many variations of a shuffle, but you got to pay attention to the entire band. You as a drummer, as a blues drummer, and trying to play a lump because it's gonna make a variation. It's like you got to ride the wave. The wave is not gonna stay in one straight line. So you got to kind of ride that wave for as playing that groove, the lump to lump is following the band, ride the wave. That's really the way that's kind of how way I justify that in short. I mean, I can go into really technological terms about it, but I think the best way is you got to learn that feel. And the only way you do that, you got to listen to the music, you got to practice the music, and then you got to practice it again, and you got to practice it again. Because if you don't have the root, it won't grow.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the truth. That's just the real truth to me. You can, like I said, you can do all the drum roll fills you want, but come try to play that shuffle, then you stuck. If you really want to do it, learn the root of the music, and then I think that's the best advice I can give you.
So who are
For
some of your influences? Like who did you listen to? I mean, I know you were around all these guys and you were, hanging out, you were watching them and all that stuff. I mean, there had to be one or two guys, drummers, that you
yeah,
watched and listened to, I'm
oh
sure,
yeah,
and maybe even transcribed that just really somebody that's new to the blues drumming or that is a blues drummer that wants to get better. I mean, who did Kenny Smith listen to start really developing your feel?
yeah. Well, I guess I mean, I have to. I mean, if call it cheating or not, but like I say, my father was a
Yeah.
blues drummer,
Yep.
so I the first
Yeah.
the first person that I ever seen playing, and I always thought his style was just kind of unique. Even when I saw other drummers play, I just thought something about his style was so unique. So I learned from him first. I mean, I learned the things that he would do first. I mean, I had the opportunity to really look and see, or how is he holding his stick? What's making this sound? What's making him so different in
Yeah.
his sound? Things like that. I really had the time and to really stand there. And that's what I do. When I went to a show, that was my whole thing. I was so excited. That to me, that was my big rush. I see him playing and I go, man, why, how does that cymbal sound like that? Why is mine not sounding like that? And I go back and then I go back and I see him do it, and I go back and I go practice it, and I would practice it and practice it and practice. So Willie was my one of my first drum. Was the first one that I learned from first, really, and then
Mm-hmm.
from him, I branched out. He turned me on to he said, hey, I like I used to listen to Francis Clay. That was who I learned from. A lot from Francis Clay, and I said, oh yeah, so let me check him out. So I went back and listened to Francis Clay. From Francis Clay, I went on to move on to S.P. Leary, Earl Phillips.
Hmm.
So those are those
What
guys
about
kind of
Fred?
Fred
What
B
about Fred?
Fred B yeah Fred B Low too. Fred B Low too. I went to him later on. That was later on when I went to him, but I was already ironically, I was already we was playing pretty similar because I was learned from the other guys who learned from him too.
Right.
So I was kind of already in the ballpark of the Below style. It was just more like, oh, okay, I see what he's doing. So it was like easy. It was like we was all speaking the same language. Put it that way. So
Yeah.
it made it was easier for me to understand that.
Interesting.
How that came about. And so some of my ones that I really like. And then later on, I actually started my one I really liked is Art Blakey. That was one
Oh
I
yeah.
really
Well,
loved.
yeah.
Oh,
I really loved Art Blakey. That was one I really did, and I kind of inspired me, and I kind of blended his style into my style of blues drumming too.
Yeah, he's
interesting.
one of my favorites, man. I mean, he's one of
Mine
my
too.
mentors too. Just listening to Art and listening to all those different bands he has,
Yes,
and
yes,
and
yes.
it's interesting with Art because he would play a shuffle different than the blues, but I could
Yeah,
see how you could incorporate a lot of that playing and
yes,
why you would dig a lot of that playing and then be able to incorporate that into the blues. And that that
absolutely.
kind of brings up a great thought is that how many blues drummers, and we don't have to name names, but I don't know of a lot of blues drummers who are as versatile as you are. A lot of them stick in the one thing, and even when you get into the jazz drumming, a lot of the jazz, straight edge jazz drummers are stuck in the
Yeah,
jazz thing, or the blues guys are
yeah,
stuck in the blues thing, and they're not able to cross over styles, and they're not able to, reach out or even think about listening to other things. You're able to play all different styles. And I
yeah.
mean, was that something consciously, or was it just something like, what, I really dig all this music. I'm just going to listen to it and it's going to turn into Kenny Smith style. That's what I'm going to do.
Well, everything, all in the above. But to make it, this is funny too. So I never forget this moment too. I just remember being in just me and my father in the basement. We even in our other house, we just in our basement, and something was on the radio. It was a song on the radio, and I just said, "Oh man, I do not like this song. I just do not like this song. Don't know what it was." And he just said, "I said I don't want to play a song like this." And he said, "You know what? You need to learn how to respect all the music because it takes a lot to make a song. It takes a lot to make a song, no matter what it is, and you need to really learn, respect that music and play and learn how to play everything. And when he
Mm.
said that, it was just like a light bulb went off in my head when he said that. Like, really, I need to play, because I thought him being a blues drummer, he wouldn't have said that, but he told me I need to learn how to play everything. He
I
did.
got a funny story about your pop.
Yeah.
A very funny story about this concept with your dad. I was producing an album for Diamond Jim Green. He's a traditional finger picking guitar player, and we brought in Bob Stroger on bass, and Willie Smith on drums. And there was one song that we actually, it was a kind of a tribute song to soldiers that had passed. Okay, and we started it out with a bagpipe before it went into the blues tune. And I had this crazy idea, get Willie to play an Irish bow drum, which is the Irish hand drum, and the
Yeah.
mallet is two headed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I brought a bow drum into the studio, and Willie looks at me like, "You're crazy, man. What is that?" I said, "Well, just give it a shot, man." And I played him a little bow drum music. We had some Irish or Celtic stuff around,
Yeah.
and your dad nailed it immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately, he just totally was absorbed into it, and I can see how that, what you just explained about what he said to you, I can see how that plays into your playing too.
Yeah.
And to have, first off, your dad be your mentor and be around him all the time, but also Willie had a way of him that it really didn't matter what kind of music it was if he could concentrate on it and just become absorbed in it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
And have
I
fun.
can't tell you
Have
how much.
fun. And
Have fun.
That was the key.
I can't
Yeah.
tell you how much that impressed me. It just made me love your dad more. I mean, he really just nailed it. And I'll play that recording for you sometime. It's
Nice.
like really good. It's
Okay.
really good. Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
Yeah.
and that just brings it like to the level where I think a lot of the greatest musicians are open to all the different styles, and then they
There you
can
go.
they can incorporate all of that into their playing just because they out of osmosis, or if they sit down and actually learn the styles and then bring it into theirs. And really, Kenny, that's how you create your own style. And that's
Yeah.
why you've played on like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of recordings, and also, by the way, won a Grammy for a recording you did
Yeah.
in 2011 with somebody you
Yes.
mentioned earlier, with Pine Top
Yes.
Perkins and your father.
And
But I
your
mean,
dad.
yeah,
Right.
and but that's one of those things that every musician tries to get their own style. You know what I mean? So that it sounds like them. And I
Yeah.
really feel like the only way to do that is to be open to all styles and be able to
That's
then
really true.
create your
Yeah.
own style. What do you
Yeah.
think?
You can.
That's,
Well, I agree. I
Yeah.
I agree with that. You have to be open. You have to be open because if you close it off, that means you putting yourself in a corner. Basically, painting yourself in a corner when you
right.
do that. I mean, mentally, and just and beyond that too, you kind of just paint yourself in the corner if that's what a one trick pony,
Right.
too. And then if you get stuck doing that the whole time, your brain will not let you, go any other place. It's like it's just too engraved in your head in one way. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so you get stuck in a pattern, you get stuck in a routine. It's more like getting stuck in a
True.
routine. I'm more like I enjoy the adventure. I enjoy the adventure of not even knowing a
Great.
song. Like somebody say, "Hey, let's just play this song." I don't care what it is. If somebody told me to play "Don't Stop Believing" and I have played it, I'm like, "Okay, let's go for it."
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. I've heard it on the radio. Let's go for it. I'm ready. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
So I'm more like that. And then after I play a song, I'm like, I really enjoyed that. That was fun. And I do it, and I integrate. Like I say, I'm always integrating the some of the patterns and the style into my own style, and I'm not doing it intentionally. It's just kind of just making it manifesting in its own way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you
Well,
know.
one thing about you, Ken, I mean, and, you know, I'm showering you with compliments just because I think the world of you, but the fact is that you have one foot in the very, very uh, straight ahead blues, being how you were raised and who you were raised around, and you can play it better than just about anybody out there. And then your opinion of what you just said, your attitude about playing something new, you have the other foot in moving forward into the new world. past just traditional blues. But all of the traditional applies to the new, and the new applies to the traditional. I mean, not to sound corny, but it's a well-rounded attitude that makes you a better musician.
Yeah,
It really does.
Well,
Well,
and
thanks a lot.
it also allows him to play on so many recordings because people all call him because they want him to play on their recording because it's Kenny and they want his drumming on the recording. And that all just goes back to the beginnings of who you learned from and who were your mentors and all the different styles you listened to and everything else. But I'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about, we're talking about learning, we're talking about mentorship, we're talking about performing and all the different styles. But you also have all of these videos on beadyeyes.com,
Here you are.
which are like learning videos and
Yes.
instructional videos for drums. And they're free, which is even
Yeah.
more amazing. So talk a little bit
That's
about
awesome.
that. What a concept that
Yeah,
is,
man.
actually teaching somebody something. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, it came to thought. I just remember. I just remember, being at a jam. Just being at a jam one time, and I got up and I played. I played my set. It went good. But then I
Mm-hmm.
remember a drummer came up. I remember a drummer had to come up behind me and play. And I just remember the look in the eyes was kind of nervous. It was kind of like, had that nervous look, and the band leaders looking at him, too, and they're like trying to tell him, you're gonna play a shuffle, and they're like, they had the deer in the head, like look in their face, like, wait, what am I? Okay, I'm in a blues club, but like you got, like I'm playing a shuffle, so they had that look, you know. So I kind of they got the song going, counted it in, and the band leader was, real hard on the drummer, I guess for not really doing his homework or just not knowing. So I just
Mm-hmm.
felt bad for the drummer because I felt bad for the drummer because I felt like the drummer was like, I felt like this might have been his breakout box. It might have been his way of just being just therapy or
Yeah.
something. Just might have had a hard day. This is his way of therapy. Just to get out and get on the stage and play, make you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about that, and I just felt bad for the drummer. So I said, I'm gonna try to help some of these drummers out the best I can, and I'm gonna try to give back to the community, the world, even as they say, the world. And so what I did is I said, well, what is it that I would need to learn if I'm a blues drummer? What are the things that I need to learn? So I put up a few different shuffles. There's BB King shuffles.
Mm-hmm.
There's Muddy Water shuffles. So I would name them as that because that's what blues leaders would say. Hey, play the BB King shuffle. That's what they would say. You turn around to a drummer, that's what they're
Ah.
gonna
True.
say. Play a BB King shuffle. This is Muddy Water shuffle. Jimmy Reed, play Jimmy Reed shuffle. They say that this is how they signify what kind of shuffle that you need to be playing to the
Mm.
drummer. But if you don't know and you think that it's just a 12-bar blues shuffle, you out of luck because
Yeah.
all of them not the same. They're not the same. So I try to separate the differences. I really, I mean, I made notations of the music too, but I really, I put it out and I put the video out, and you can hear the style. I even had Billy Flynn, Bob Stroger playing bass with me on the song on these songs too. So they would you can really hear the definition of what a BB King style shuffle would sound like, what a Muddy Waters style would sound like, what a train beat sound like,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. These are blue. This is blues
Flat tire.
terminology. Yeah, lingo. This is how they speak. If you're gonna play some blues, that's the first thing they'll say. Jimmy Reed shuffle. The drummer's like, wait, what? What? Wait, this. Wait, that's what they. So I just wanted to help them out. So I did. So what I do is I take my time and I really put in like some real high quality videos showing what my hand is doing, what my foot is doing on
Yeah.
these videos. What my just kind of they can kind of see how I'm really doing it as I would be looking at my own father play. Things
Mm.
like that. So I kind of broke it down
Hmm.
a little bit like that. And for the ones who don't want to look, I even put it up in a notation. I made notation music of it just so they can read it if they like, but they can. I mean, it still might not be still, but at least they would be closer to knowing what it sounds like.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's incredible.
You know.
And by the way, I mean, years ago when I first went to a blues jam session, I mean, like 25 years ago, I still remember this. I walked in, I sat down, and how about a shuffle in E? And they're looking at me. I'm like, I don't care. Go ahead. And then the next tune was a shuffle in B. I'm like, sounds good to me. Whatever. So there's also that side of it too. Where hey,
yeah.
Dave would know,
That
but
is
I was
Oh,
interesting.
didn't
there's a
matter to
whole
me,
lingo for
man.
guitar players and bass players too. You know,
Exactly,
do a
definitely.
box. You know, do a
Yeah,
short change. You know, all that stuff. It's the same thing as a drummer has your own lingo. You know, but this is the language of the stage on a blues hit because
Yeah.
there's so much room for improvisation and so many people. It's not the same as a jazz hit or even a rock hit.
Right.
Everybody has their own kind of map of how to walk through it.
Mm-hmm.
But blues has got a very deep stage language for every instrument,
oh
and
yeah,
that's one of the reasons blues can work all over the world with people you never met before.
Yeah.
If they understand that language, and you call a box an A or whatever, you know, an 8 bar and see and tell the drummer what you want, you got it.
oh
Everyone
yeah,
plays,
Yeah.
and it
oh
works.
yeah,
And then
absolutely.
all of a sudden, the magic happens, and that's what's the cool thing. One of the main reasons I love blues.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, yeah,
Well,
I
hey,
agree. That's
yeah.
good stuff.
we don't want to keep you here because it's Friday, and man, we've had a great discussion. Dave, you got one more question or anything else you want to add in here before
You
we
know,
let Kenny
um,
go enjoy the
well,
weekend?
yeah, yeah. Uh, you do lessons online, correct? Right? You do that, or
Uh,
are you just doing your videos?
well, right now I do the videos. Normally, during the season, I'm moving like I would be moving so fast. That's why I did because the lessons I wouldn't have time to do a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
So that's why I did the
Okay,
video, so they can kind of watch them. They can kind of watch them at their own leisure. I made the videos, and I also put clips on there where they can play along with it. So I took out all the drumming and left just the
nice.
guitar and bass in
That's
there.
great.
So they
That's
can kind of
great.
play along with it too. Things like that they
Awesome.
could do with it.
Awesome.
So I was thinking, yeah, just trying to think about it. Yeah, I'm gonna keep on trucking along, trying to keep making
You're doing
as many
great,
more
man.
as I can.
Doing
Yeah.
great.
Well, I
I
did see online that you and Guy King did a online video, right? Maybe it was a live
Yes.
stream when you
Yeah.
guys were playing or something. But, anyways, is that kind of what you've been doing here and there? Maybe jumping on or doing some Facebook Live or doing different things like that. I know you and Guy must have recorded it separately and then put it all together because it's
Yeah.
impossible to stream together,
Exactly.
obviously.
Exactly. So, but yeah, so it's fun. Those are fun too because I like one thing we do. During all the COVID-19, one thing about that is I get a chance to really connect with some of my friends that we cross each other on the road, but it's
Yeah.
nice sometimes we can just collaborate with each other. So this is kind of a little small way of us just collaborating together, just during these times to say let's make some music together, just because we don't get a chance to do it all the time,
Mm-hmm.
together
It's
in that
true.
way. So I'm just doing
It's
just
true.
doing that. We normally like, hey, how you doing? Hi, we're moving on, crossing paths, going to a fest. I'm going to another festival. So it was nice to just kind of say, you know what, let's take this time and just kind of, let's enjoy each other company.
Yeah. Yeah.
There
You
you
know.
go. I'm going to put a little plug in there too. If you ever see the Chicago Blues Super Session, which is a band I put together, Kenny Smith is my
Yeah,
drummer.
that's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Well,
That's a good
Yeah,
one.
that's a good one.
let's hope we see the Chicago Blues Super Session among many other sessions happen live here sooner rather than later, so that we can all
That's
get back
right.
to business here. Because Kenny, I know you are usually every time I see you at the Blues Fest, you at least are playing 3 or 4 gigs in one day. I mean, that's if it's
Yeah.
slow.
Oh,
It's like
Kenny and Billy Flynn are the MVPs of the
Oh,
Blues Fest. Those two guys, it's like I played multiple gigs with them over the Blues Fest. I'm only one of their many gigs. Kenny, I think he holds the record, though. I think you
Oh my
do.
goodness. I do. Yeah, quite a few. Yeah, quite a few. Definitely.
well, and
Yeah.
unfortunately now that nothing's happening. So hopefully we get back to normal and we can all go enjoy that. Everybody go check out beadyeyes.com. You saw us, you heard us talking about the videos here that he does the instructional stuff, but there's so much more on there. All of the recordings he's on, all of the different musicians he's on. He's got a great bio up there. You can probably learn some blues history just reading his bio. So all of that great stuff. Kenny, thanks so much for jumping on. It's a pleasure as usual. Every time
Thank
you and
you.
I get together and talk, I always have a blast talking to you. So I'm glad Dave set it up for today. This was a great
Yeah.
treat.
Thanks,
Thank you,
guys, for
brother.
having me. Yeah, thanks for
Thank you,
having
man.
me, guys. For sure, I really enjoy it.
Definitely. All right,
All right,
go have
good.
a good weekend and go enjoy the beautiful weather here in Chicago.
You too, guys.
There you
All
go.
right. Thanks,
Stay
Kenny.
safe.
All right.
Okay, Ken. Take it
Bye-bye.
easy, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Kenny Beedy Eyes Smith. Man, that was good. Dave.
What a guy.
Oh, he's a great dude.
Yeah.
Great dude. And I mean, man, talk about history, right? I'm glad we were talking to him about all that
God.
stuff. You had some great stories. I'm glad you asked those questions. But you knew a lot of those guys obviously really well as well. But with Kenny growing up around him, it's just a whole other ball game. And I couldn't even
I
imagine.
didn't live in the house with him. I lived on the road with some of them, but not in the house.
You think about like 11 in the morning, like somebody just, pine top sitting on your couch, Okay, well,
right.
I guess this is where the day's going these days, so that's wild. But what a great guy. And when we get back to normal, everybody's got to go check him out live, because what we were talking about doesn't do his performing and playing justice. Plus, he is an incredibly nice guy, very giving, as you could hear. He's also involved with a lot of educational programs. Schools, blues in the school things and everything else. I know. Well, we talked for 45 minutes and we didn't even get to half of that.
Maybe we could do a percussion symposium at Epiphany with Kenny.
Well, that would be something for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah.
I mean, he's a master. He's a living master.
He is. I think that would be a great master class and a whole bunch of stuff there. So, all right. So we got any extra tidbits or nuggets? But we covered a heck of a lot of information here.
Well, yeah, I do. I got a little bit of something.
Okay.
Up at Hainani, up in Arlington Heights.
Oh, yeah. They're back in
doing
business
live,
up there.
Sorta.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as they can be. They've got the patio going outside, and they've got the sidewalk, which is a large sidewalk filled with tables. And Arlington Heights has given them the street too, so they have tables out going into the street, and the street's blocked off. Nice little park across the way, and doing small shows up there. Tonight we got Vino Loudon. That's Coco Taylor's band leader. Tomorrow night, it's not a blues show, tomorrow afternoon, but Amy Lowe and myself are playing a duo. And then we got Joanna Connor right after us.
Oh, nice.
And in August, Joanna's doing a residency on all the Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. And Little Ed is doing a residency of 4 dates up there. I think there's 3 Fridays and 1 Saturday, but yeah, it's first off, it's nice just to get out playing again.
Mm-hmm.
Second off, getting some real blues players up there, and when they get back to normal, we're going to have a blues calendar up there that'll knock everybody dead.
Yeah, yeah, and you help out up there obviously with all those bookings and everything. So which is dynamite. So Hey Nani, it's a great spot. It's right up there in Arlington Heights. Check that. I think it's heynani.com if I'm not mistaken. I think that's the website, right?
Yes, it is.
So heynani.com. We'll send everybody up there. But all right. Well, I think another successful Chicago Blues and Beyond show here. I would say, don't you?
Yeah, and we can also announce next Friday. We've got Little Ed Williams coming in.
Little Ed's going to be on.
Little Ed. Yeah.
All right. We're gonna get him on Skype, man. We got to see Little Ed.
Yeah, Kenny didn't want to do Skype, but we'll get that on Skype. All right, Mike. It was a good one, man.
All right,
I'll
Dave.
Talk to you soon. Enjoy your weekend.
All right, you too. Thanks, man. All right, bye.
Okay, talk to you. Bye.
All right. Thanks to Dave Katzman. What a show today, huh, folks? Chicago Blues and Beyond. We are picking up steam here. We are getting a lot of views, a lot of listens on our podcast. Go to ChicagoJazzAudioExperience.com. We are going to be possibly adding a new podcast platform coming soon, so stay tuned for that. And of course, all the past shows that we did this week. This was episode 76 today. So we're gonna cross the 80 threshold next week. I didn't even think we'd get this far, but we are this far. And I'm just happy to be doing this. Hopefully everybody stays safe, stays healthy, and hopefully we'll be back doing it in person sometime soon. As I always say, if you like this show, please like it, please share it, please give us some love, leave us a comment wherever you are listening to it. And if you have any suggestions, DM us. And as I always say, if you like what you're hearing, tell your family, tell your neighbors. Call the grandkids Monday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will be back here live with a full week of performances and interviews. So we will see you on the next.